Okay, we know the drill. Let's tape our page down nice and straight. And remember too, if you're ever starting a drawing and you don't finish and you untape it before it's done and you go to work on the drawing some more, you don't want to tape down based on the edge of the page. You actually want to tape down based on lines you've already drawn. And that's just because pages, the edges can get frayed or ripped, and then you don't really have a straight reference to go off of. Or it could be entirely possible that you didn't tape as straight as you thought you did last time. And so it's always better to just tape based on lines you already have, so that this way you're at least going to be parallel with lines that already exist versus just taping off of the edge of the sheet that maybe is no longer even straight because the edge got like bent or ripped or something. But typically with these, we tend to be able to get them done in one shot. But maybe if I was making a drawing for a bit more complicated object and I had to untape it and come back to it. All right, and then let's just lay out my title block. 4, 3, 2, 1.5. All right, what's my time? Did I beat the world record? Am I the dream of title blocks? Maybe. All right, I'm gonna start my front view. Just like always, I pick a place in the bottom left corner off of the border's edge to start, and I'll just kind of put a guideline out and a guideline up. Went a little further than I typically do, but that's fine. Sometimes I kind of mix my two little techniques together. So now I'm doing my front view, and I'm just going to start with overall, what's my overall length? So I have an overall length of 6, and I've got an overall height of 2. So I'm just going to make an overall bounding box of the shape and then just kind of carve out the different features that are in the front. So then if I'm looking at the front view, I can see in the drawing that I've got that little ledge right here that goes up 1 inch. So I'm going to measure over 2. And I could even do it this way where I just go over 2, make a reference line, and then I know that it goes up 1, which I eyeballed that 1 inch perfectly. Wow, I'm a marvel. And I'll go across, and I can see then that this also goes across another 2, because I do have to do some math there where it tells me that this is 2, and then it tells me that from here to, so if from here to here is 2, and from here to here is 4, I then have to do some math that this would have to be 2. Because 4 minus 2 is 2. Measure out 2. And then it goes up another 1 inch. And then I have my front view of kind of these two little like nestled together pairs. So now onto my top view, in which I'll pick a place to start it. It's a little too far up. So that'll be my starting point. And then I'm just going to project anywhere I have kind of a vertical feature in my top view or my front view. I'm just going to project it up. And that means that it has to be referenced, whether or not it's a hidden line or a solid visible line. If it exists in the front view, it has to exist in the top view. Like it just does. Because things don't disappear or vanish, they just kind of get hidden out of our sight. So now in our top view, we need to figure out just what's our overall depth of the object. And so our overall depth is 3. So I'm just going to measure 3, make a mark, draw a line across. I'll just clean up these guides while I'm at it. And now, before I start tackling things that might be hidden, I'll just make this little ledge here. So this goes 1 inch down. And again, I have to do some math because it doesn't tell me up front or straightforward. It doesn't say how much this is, but it does tell me that the whole length from edge to edge is 6, and from here to here is 4. And so if this is 6 and this is 4, I know that this is 2. And furthermore, I have it referenced right there. So I'm just going to measure 1 inch and bring that line in. Now, these guides are going to get erased because there is no part of the object that's there. That just helps me put my guidelines up for reference points. Now, I have this line here, but that is referencing this little ledge and edge underneath it that I can't see when I'm looking at the top. So what we've discussed, and what hopefully you've picked up on, is that when we can't see something in a view, it gets drawn with a hidden line. So we have that hidden line going back there. If I flip this object over, it's a little easier to understand that doesn't just go all the way through. So it goes, but then it stops right here on this face. So it only goes in 2 inches. So I need to bring this over to meet, to finish up that hidden line. So I'll just bring that over. I'll get rid of some of these guidelines that I no longer need. And I'll grab my erasing shield. And I'm going to turn this line into a hidden one. So a thing that I've mentioned in other demos is that when you have hidden lines, it's important to make sure like the edge is meeting. The same thing with like a corner. So if you have hidden lines that meet in a corner, you want to make sure that it stays like a line part in that corner wherever they meet. And sometimes this leads to those lines being just a little bit longer than the typical 1/8 of an inch. And that's okay. You just want to make sure that they meet here, that there's just not some weird awkward gap. So the same thing is that I want to make sure that there's a line there meeting at the edge of this object, line here meeting at the edge of the object, and then if they cross, that they also meet. There's just not an awkward gap there. So now I have my top view done, and I'm ready to work on my side view. So I'm going to do my miter line technique from where the top and right lines meet, 45-degree guideline, and then just kind of reference where these lines would touch it. And then let's bring these guides out while I'm here. I feel like I did that one a little bit off. Yeah, I did. I feel like I did that one a little bit off too. Still seems a little too big, but it's okay. And then I'll project these straight down. So where it would meet, project down, where it meets, project down, and where it meets, project down. Now for my side view, this looks a little bit like this guy that we worked on before, but almost as if these features were flipped. So in this case, we had face, face, because that little notch went back here. In this one, this is all just one piece. The difference is this is now split into two different faces. So for this one, the side view would not have that line there. Maybe you picked up on it and you just didn't put the guide all the way through. Maybe you've just been going with the technique of throwing your guides all over, and you can just already visualize your faces. Get rid of my miter line. And I've got this shape ready to go. So this one is called the notched shelf. So again, in the title block, make sure we're lettering, which is neat in all caps. The notched shelf. And then in the next box, you'll put your own name. The date that you drew this on. The scale, which in this case we did 1:1, 1 inch on paper is 1 inch in real life. And how many drawings are in the set for this notched block. This is drawing number 1 of 1.